Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I wanted to do sort of a comparison video with what I think is probably the top 2 luxury holiday palettes of this year, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury, I always forget the name of this, Instant Eye Palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever. I finally got it. My best friend had shipped it to me, and so I have this one here, and I've also done a 7 looks, one palette using the Mcgrath Celestial Odyssey. Just have some talking points that I wanted to get to, and hopefully it'll give you a better idea of which one might suit you best. They are both a pretty penny, so I wouldn't be like, buy both. This is not the time to do that. So if you're interested in my thoughts, comparisons of these 2 palettes, I hope you decide to stay tuned. We're gonna get straight into it. So I'm going to start off with just basic information about both palettes. So the Charlotte Tilbury one is made in Italy and it has an 18-month shelf life. This palette comes with 12 shades and they're kind of coordinated in a way. I know that she has a prime, enhance, and smoke strategy with these palettes, but in my opinion, sometimes they don't make sense. Like, what are you supposed to do with this? Like, where's the smoke here? But needless to say, there is some sort of like formula when she puts these palettes together. And so you have 4 separate looks that you can use that's already created for you, or you can sort of mix and match, which is what majority of us do anyways. So here we have the inside of the palette. These are more like shimmer bases. I would say more inner corner or lid shades. This foresty green trio, more of like a reddish pink trio right here, and then a pretty standard smoky with a shimmery lavenderish shade here. This is what the outside packaging looks like. I hope that the light is able to catch it, but there's green sparkle reflect on the cover, so it looks black when you look at it, but if you give it a shift, you see those glitter particles inside the packaging. Moving on to Miss Pat Mcgrath. I always forget the information. This one here is made in the USA of US and imported ingredients, has a 12-month shelf life if you choose to follow it. Here's what the packaging looks like. This one is cardboard, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury is plastic. And here is what the eyeshadow palette looks like. This one comes with 18 shades, and so you're getting 6 more options with this holiday palette. In terms of weight, the Charlotte Tilbury has 9.5 grams or 0.33 ounces, and Pat Mcgrath is a total of 19.8 grams and 0.69 ounces. So there is more in this, but there's also more eyeshadow. So that's just something to be aware of. Now, price is pretty interesting. Charlotte Tilbury always runs $75, and this big boy retails for $78. So you're paying $3 more for 6 extra shades, which is definitely a steal. I did find that with her 30% off, at least the most recent one, she didn't have this palette available for that discount. But I mean, when you think about it, it is already a discount. So that's just some like tidbits, general information about the products. And now I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I don't think it's going to be any different from what other people would say if they were comparing these 2 palettes. So let's get into it. In terms of formulation, they are both amazing. I happen to really enjoy and favor Charlotte Tilbury and Pat Mcgrath's formulation, and same goes with Tom Ford. I really enjoy the quality of every single one of their formulations. There's rarely ever one that I'm disappointed with. I like the toppers, I like the shimmers, the metallics, the mattes, all of them. And that goes with the way they blend as well. They've got a lot of great punch to it. The pigmentation is there, but the blendability is just seamless. It really does blend itself. I don't know how many times I have to emphasize that when I talk about these eyeshadow formulations, but they really do. And that again runs the span of their formulations. You can blend out the shimmers, you can blend out the mattes. So I can't say I favor one over the other. I think they're both as good. However, However, I think when it comes to the different types of finishes, I think you're gonna get more with Pat McGrath because she has her mattes, obviously mattes are mattes, but she also has different types of shimmer formulations. So you have a satin, but you can also have a satin with glitter. Her Blitz Astral shade is not present here, but you kind of get a glimpse of it with this shade down here. I think it's called Citrine. Yeah, Citrine Envy, which is sort of this flaky but very adhesive glitter, and it's very fine as well, almost like fairy dust. And then you have those chunky metallics. It's just, there's a plethora of different things to play with here, and the variety again is just, I think it definitely beats Charlotte Tilbury, particularly with these two palettes. Now with Charlotte Tilbury, you do get quite a bit of shimmers, and I think it just runs the metallic and almost, dare I say, almost like the Blitz Astral shade from Pat McGrath. I feel like she's dabbling into that. If you guys haven't noticed, you can see it here. When I was applying this shade here, it's not quite like it. It doesn't have that duochrome quality that many of her Blitz Astral shades do. And I'm talking about Pat McGrath. But the finish of it, that flaky fairy dust, I definitely got that with this shade, and that shade is this one here. And so here you're getting metallics, mattes, and those very like fine glittery shades as well. The biggest difference between these two palettes, I think it just comes down to color story as well as functionality for you as the consumer. So I'm going to start with Charlotte Tilbury. If you like structure, if you don't like to think too much about what colors go together, you sort of want the layout to speak for itself, and you don't like to go over the top with your color selection, the Charlotte Tilbury palette is definitely the one for you. You have different color stories, but they're muted enough to where you don't have to feel like you're being extra with your makeup. With Charlotte Tilbury palettes, you get a sophisticated glam. It's the vibe I get with her eyeshadow palettes. I mean, here's the Bejeweled palette, same thing. It's very structured, but it's also very sophisticated glam, not over the top with colors, very basic but also very thought out, where you can either use the formula that they've already got with the trios or mix and match if you want, but the mix and matching will never include anything that's a little bit more out there, if you will. Now, if you're a bit more funky, a bit more out there, if you want color, if you want variation, and if you want a challenge, I think Pat McGrath is the one for you. I do this every single year. I look at her palettes, I'm like, what the heck? There's so much going on. And then you play with it and it just makes sense. And this is exactly what happened with this palette. When I did the 7 Looks 1 palette, I went for it. I didn't plan it. And I love the way that it turned out. So the versatility in colors as well as the versatility of what kind of looks you can come up with, it's pretty endless here. You have neutral shades spread throughout. You have pinks, you have blue options, you have smoky silvery options. There's just so much available in this palette. And so if you have more of a creative, more colorful mindset when it comes to eyeshadow looks, I think the Pat McGrath palette is for you. It's like a rock star glam palette. I'm going to be inserting a short clip here of me doing these eyeshadow looks. On this side I have Pat McGrath, and on this side I have Charlotte Tilbury. I tried to match them as close as I could, and I'll let the application speak for itself, but basically they go on pretty much the same. So there's a tutorial, you have my thoughts, some general information about the product. I think the last thing left is what I would personally buy. Obviously, I do have both because that's just me. But if I only had to pick one, my preferences will lean towards the Pat McGrath. I do like to play with color every now and again, and although the color story is a little bit more sporadic, not as organized and structured, it still feels enough to challenge me without making me feel uncomfortable with color. And I find that to be the case with all of her palettes. It's got color, but color that I'm excited to play with and not intimidated by. These palettes from Charlotte Tilbury will always be ones that I definitely keep my eye on because I just love the idea of them. They're color stories that I would use on a regular basis, and I always feel very sultry, sexy when I use her eyeshadows. But as a whole, I feel like there's more bang for your buck here. There's more opportunity for creativity, and it really is just such a fun time with Pat McGrath palettes. I can't stress that enough. So there you have it, guys. I hope this video helped you maybe make a decision. Hopefully, if you're only looking to buy one holiday palette, please take it with a grain of salt. This is not set in stone. This is purely my own opinion. And so for those of you who have similar makeup styles, maybe it might help you out. My eyes don't match, so this won't be going up on Instagram, but if you are interested in any of my makeup looks, be sure to check me out on Instagram. That is where I post all of my makeup looks along with all the products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.